My brothers and sisters, today is the Sunday within the octave of Easter. And this is also celebrated worldwide as Divine Mercy Sunday, as we have been told in the introduction. For our reflections on the Gospel today, we shall focus on the greeting that Jesus gave his disciples, repeated thrice in the Gospel text today, and that is, peace be with you. Sometimes we often associate peace as a feeling of peace, a feeling when you have no enemies, or the feeling when you receive forgiveness. So it's good to feel a feeling of peace. However, St. Thomas Aquinas tells us that peace is not just a feeling. For St. Thomas, the Dominican saint, not the St. Thomas the Apostle that we read here. St. Thomas says, peace is the tranquility of order. It's like a highfalutin, difficult to understand definition. Very short, but very difficult to understand. Peace is the tranquility of order. It still has some kind of a feeling, tranquility, but that is secondary. The first and the most important ingredient for peace is order. Now, here comes the problem. Because we tend to think we are already orderly. But come to think of it, there are many aspects in our life where there is disorder. Because order comes from right reason. And many times, we don't have the right reasons why we do things. Or we don't have the right reasons why we say things in the first place. Therefore, St. Thomas Aquinas invites us to reflect on our lives, which is very much like the life of the Apostle Thomas. Now, this is the one we find in the Gospel today. Thomas was not with the disciples when Jesus first appeared, and so we find that his life is really full of doubt. In fact, he says, I will not believe unless he has many conditions. Just like the disciples who began to desert one another, who began to leave the discipleship, who began to go back to their boats. Maybe silently, I'll just go back to my home, go back to the sea, go back to becoming fishermen, go back to the situation before Jesus called them. This is, my brothers and sisters, a certain kind of disorder. Why? Because it's a falling out. It is going back to an original situation where you have not met the Lord. Anyway, because the Lord died. The greeting, peace be with you, is something that we should reflect on. Why did Jesus use this greeting? Why did he not say, Apa kabar, when he appeared to the disciples? Why did he not say, hi, hello? Or in our language, why did he not say, kumusta? From the Spanish, ¿cómo estás? Why? Peace be with you. The greeting is actually also a revelation of who the disciples were and a revelation about who we are. Peace be with you reveals to them that they are actually in a kind of disorder. It is only Jesus in his risen life who is able again to restore, to put back that sense of order into the life of the disciples, into the faith of the disciples themselves. That is why it has to be repeated over and over again. Peace be with you. And to Thomas, when he was absent, and then he was present after some time, and then Jesus had to reappear and repeat, peace be with you. The greeting is therefore important. That is why in our liturgy, whenever we begin the Eucharist, we sign ourselves with a cross. And then the minister greets us using many formulas, which has something to do with that the peace of the Lord be with us. And at the conclusion of the Eucharist, the bidding is also to go in peace. Peace goes ahead of us, and peace is our task, to go in peace. When it is a bishop who celebrates the Eucharist, only one greeting is used, and that is what we read in the Gospel, to call our attention to the fact that the bishop acts in the name of Christ, in the name of the church, as a leader. So the bishop says only this line, peace be with you. To call our attention to, again, the leadership that is in the bishop, the leadership of Christ. And that leadership is given to the bishop by the outpouring of the grace of the Holy Spirit. The same Spirit given to the disciples, the same Spirit given to us. Jesus breathed on them the Spirit and sends them. And so, my brothers and sisters, divine mercy, the mercy of the Lord, is the peace that the Father gives to us through Jesus. And that peace is the work of the Spirit in our lives. When we look back, when we look into our very own lives, we are not very far from Thomas the Apostle. We have so many errors. We have so many sins. We have so many disbeliefs. And in our midst, Jesus appears and says to us, peace be with you. Let us ask for this singular grace, for the grace of the peace of the Spirit, so that, like St. Thomas Aquinas, we may be reminded to put order into our minds, to put order into our words, to put order into the way we plan, into the way we decide things, into the way we act, so that our lives may share not only this limited human life, but in the divine life that Jesus, in his resurrection, has come to give us.